wonderful universe. It's Jennifer here at Eureka Astrology and Healing, and I'm going to give you the weekly forecast for February 21st through the 25th. If you've been watching my videos, I've been focusing in on the moons, the moon signs, and the shifts, and how the energy is affecting us all. So this is going to be my focus, but I want to give the bigger picture and the bigger story. And today, the moon just moved into Scorpio. It's a waning moon, so that energy is going to be about release. Then later in the week, and Wednesday, it's going to move into Sagittarius. Again, still a waning moon, waning gibbous actually, so the energy is really starting to be let go of. And like I said, we're just going to give it the bigger picture here. And, I've been doing the phrases for this month for each sign. So I'm going to incorporate the phrase for each sign as I talk about the moons. So when the moon shifts. And so right now, today, it's Scorpio. And the phrase is, I desire. And that's a pretty powerful phrase, right? And so we're going to be feeling, because moon feelings, there's going to be some desires coming up in these next few days. So that's a theme to be thinking about right there. And then, like I said, I'll weave that in. With that, we'll take a look at the aspects. So the first aspect I see today is the moon is trining the sun in Pisces. And so lots of feelings. That's the first one I want to say, the two water signs. And I see this as positive. With Scorpio, there's going to be desire, there's going to be a depth of emotion, and Pisces is kind of like the height. And so I could almost see like a transformation of these deep emotions into a higher plane, into a higher connection with Source, because Pisces rules upper connection. And also potentially a release, a beautiful release, and just feeling connected one with all. And so that's a very harmonious aspect. And then also, we have the moon squaring Mercury in Aquarius, and the moon is also going to later be opposing Uranus. So these are going to be more tenuous aspects. And so what I think of is, so Aquarius is fixed thoughts, fixed thinking, and Taurus is fixed, which is where Uranus is at, fixed, not doing, but more fixed material needs. And so there's going to be these desires coming up. And there's going to be some thought, though, Mercury thinking about the collective, like, okay, well, we need to do stuff with the collective, and there's a little bit of fixation on what needs to happen there, as well as Uranus calling for a change in the material. It's like, well, you desire this, but really this is what you need first to get what you desire. And with the phrase, I desire, there's the positive aspects about this, right? Desire brings us together and creates more. It's the union of two creating more things. It could be a business partnership or a deep romantic partnership. But the darker side of it is the desire can be almost like an I want, like an I'm going to take this. And there's going to be potentially themes of, in these next few days, power. And like I said, it can be expressed positively, like I know my power, I know what I have, and I'm going to bring this into this joined union with what I desire from that person. I still have something to give in this situation, right? Whereas there might be power struggles where somebody or something may feel like it doesn't have, nothing to offer, but it wants something that maybe where it's not bringing anything to the table as well. And so there can be power issues, manipulation. So be on the guard for that, or secrets, especially hidden emotions and secrets, or someone may be hiding them, but they may be coming to the surface in these next few days, because when push comes to shove, Scorpio can snap and fight back. It doesn't always, but as we are watching the world weather right now, and I think you all know what I'm talking about, there's definitely some tensions, and there's definitely manipulation, and it's definitely a power struggle. So my hope is people come out of this with the higher vibration of Pisces, like, oh, this is what, I think I need, but really I don't need to take anything from everyone. My desires are just kind of pure and support versus like grabbing and taking. When the Pisces, because the Pisces says, yeah, we're all one, you don't need to take anything, it's okay, we're all already connected. So that's my hope. That's some of the weather I saw today. Moving into Tuesday, there's a lot of more harmonious aspects going on in general. The moon is then squaring Jupiter, so an expansion on the sun. Again, it's like, okay, expanding more of how can I connect greatly to Source? What do I desire from Source? And again, it's not such a take, it's just like it's a marriage, it's a partnership, but I should say more of a deep union. So where can we more deeply connect to Source? That's going to be a positive way to work through this moon for sure. And then there's going to be a little bit of grounding tomorrow. The moon in Scorpio is going to sextile Venus and Mars. They're in Capricorn, so that's Earth, right? We talked about this, and this is a bigger theme playing out, which is going to come to a head March 2nd, and it's going to then continue on after. I mean, it's not going to just be one thing and that's it. I think there's going to be some real things revealed then, because what happens is Mars and Venus conjunct Pluto. But right now, this is a harmonious aspect, right? Those deep desires, those deep needs, wanting, connecting. And so you're finding these, bringing them out. There's some earth to bring this to source, right? Or grow it. So Venus and Mars is desiring to reconstruct this collective, the patriarchy, any institute. There's a lot, and I'm not going to get into it, but I think many of America's institutions are wonderful in a lot of ways. But I think this is time for us to look at them and see if there are parts that can be taken out and restructured so it really serves everyone in this country. So I'll say that in a positive light. And this is what that can do. It can go, the moon's digging deep, right? Digging into maybe things it didn't know it desired, or maybe things it didn't want to think about and feel or have at the surface because it was so intense. Those are coming up, and then Capricorn's going, okay, like, let's help you restructure maybe your emotional boundaries and things of that nature. And then Scorpio, the moon, is going, hey, let's put a little feeling into this. Like, let's dig deep. Like, Pluto's already doing that, and this is enhancing it even further because it's a feeling, not just an action. It's like, this really needs to change, and everyone has their desires. How can we make sure the desires of everyone can be merged here for a greater picture? That's a harmonious aspect. Then the moon squares also on Tuesday Saturn in Aquarius, and so, you know, there's all this restructuring going on, and it's about foundation and, like I said, our desires. And so when it goes to our desires, like, I desire, right? I desire. Now, Saturn in Aquarius is like, it would be more like we desire, or what does the collective desire, right? So having to bring in the picture of the responsibility to the collective, because it's in Aquarius, it's Saturn. So maybe having to, I don't want to say sacrifice some of your desires, but trying to find a balance, and how can you have your desires met and being restructured and reformed while also considering the group, because the group is going to be very prevalent, and it's going to be very like, we need this, like, this needs to happen to rebuild, right? This beautiful thing that we're all working towards here on planet Earth. Then we move into Wednesday, and there's a few different things going on. So Scorpio is just finishing up, or I should say the moon is just finishing up with Scorpio. And so the moon sextiles Pluto. So it's the end of that whole, we were just talking about the Venus and the Mars and Capricorn, like that's drive. I'm going for it. I'm going for what I desire and to restructure. So Mars is the drive and Venus is the desire. So like, I desire this and I'm moving forward with that. And with the I desire of Scorpio, it's like, all right, you know, this is what's going on and this is how I value this and I'm doing it. I'm going, right? In a really positive way. And the Pluto's the kind of the last checkpoint there as far as the cycle, and it is calling for digging deep. It's kind of like the final emotional, I see it as purging, emotional, because it's coming down and in, right? It's not going up. It's like, all right, we're digging deep. What really needs to go? Or what do I really, really, really want? So it's a good day to really look at what you really, really want to transform, especially around authority, structure your authority. Remember, it's always a two-way street. It's not just how authority affects you and what you're being in. It's also how you project, or you are exerting your authority where you need to be an authority figure, where you need boundaries, where you need structure. Try to think about that, because this is really digging deep. And this is a harmonious with work. You can really find some great results. And also about personal power. Yeah, that's the other thing. Really work with what strikes you as your personal power. It's different for everyone. And when you are confident in your power and you know what your power is, there aren't power struggles. There's not manipulation. You just do what you do and you witness around you and you move forward, or whatever needs to happen. So finding your personal power is also a good theme, especially when it comes to authority. And then we have the moon opposing the North Node right before it shifts. And this is going to be Wednesday morning. And that's something to think about, right? So the moon, that means the moon's going to be conjuncting the South Node. And so there's a releasing right after, there's this, potential purging and, power dynamics. So it's like, what do I need to fully release? Because these nodes have just shifted, right, earlier this year, and it's a larger theme. And so the moon has this feeling of needing maybe to let go of its desires. Maybe the desires you found in these 2.5 days are no longer serving you. And of course, there's always gonna be desires that you need to keep, right? It's a good thing. It's a good thing for humans. But there might be something coming up to the surface that can be released. So it's a good time for release and looking to what you have, not desiring from others, but what do you have inside? What's your value? What's your worth? What are you bringing to the table? Not asking what others are bringing to the table. So it's a really good time for that release, and then also doing that check-in, even though it may feel a little tense, you might have there's a new clarity almost about what your worth is and what you have. And that's a really strong and powerful thing. Then the moon shifts into Sagittarius. And the Sagittarius phrase, this is Wednesday, the 23rd, is I see. And so just to give a little backstep to Gemini was I perceive, it just was taking in. And that was ruled, by Mercury. And so it's not ruled by Mercury, but it's got to do with perception. It's the counterpoint of Gemini. And I see is bringing things together. It's seeing the bigger picture. It's not just regurgitating things. It's thinking deeply about it. It's philosophizing about it. It's doing it by experience. So with the moon shift, it's from deep feelings, right? We talked about power and desire, and just really, really deep emotions. And it's going to be shifting into a more outward energy, going out there and doing things to experience things, to understand things, to see the bigger picture. So that's going to be the tail end of the last week. That's going to be a little more of a active moon as far as maybe physicality, whereas Scorpio, not that Scorpio can be very physical, but there's a lot of emotional presence there. So I see is going to be the theme from Wednesday to Friday. And with that, let's take a look at the aspects here. So we've got that shift. And so, like I said, from deeper emotions to exploration, there is one aspect that I saw with the moon particularly. So the sun in Pisces squares the moon in Sagittarius. And what I got from this is you want to see the bigger picture, but the sense of the cosmos is kind of saying to the moon, like, you're feeling this need, right? You're feeling the need to maybe educate yourself and explore to get the bigger picture. And Pisces is like, I already have the bigger picture. We're all one, right? And so the need to kind of dig deep into information, experience, and explore versus just being. Like, are you allowing yourself to just be, or do you need to explore? And so, how that plays out in your life is going to be different for everybody. And, it's really okay. Maybe you find the balance of where you understand that in the end, we are all one. But while you're here, when you want to understand people, you are exploring different experiences to understand the world and where we're at. That was kind of the only aspect I really saw that I wanted to touch on for that day. Thursday is super, super active, and I have all kinds of notes I was looking at and going, holy cow. I can't say what's going to happen, but it's going to be dynamic. One of the things that I first saw is that the moon trines Chiron, so Sagittarius, the moon, and Chiron in Aries, and I saw that as like that sense of getting out there and exploration and deeper understanding really boosts confidence in the self, like how we survive in the world. Because there's like Chiron's the wound in Aries, and Aries is about rising to the challenge, getting out there. And so I feel like getting out there is really going to boost the confidence because you're getting these experiences that may help you grow or understand what you have and how you can rise to that challenge. And then also the moon sextiles both Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius. So how did I think about this here? Boosted by new ideas, right? Okay, there's this energy, it's going out there, and maybe you're experiencing these things, seeing these things. Bring those experiences in and communicate them to the bigger picture, the collective. Say you're in a group or friends or things like that. It's a good time. You'll find answers that can really support that. They're going to be, maybe active and adventurous, but the collective really needs that right now because, like I said, there's a lot of earth energy, and not to say it's stagnant, but it's stable, but we also want to make sure we move forward into something that is new, beyond what is old that we're trying to get rid of here. And with the Saturn, again, Saturn's just saying you're committing to it. And by committing to this, in the long run, something's really going to play out here. It's not going to happen overnight. Like, you're going to be, this is an exercise, even though the moon is moving quick, you know, coming to it every day, making that video, writing that book, doing whatever you're doing, it will pay off, and it's going to be through your experiences. Maybe you go to a park and you get inspired and you write a poem about, you know, say a toad or a river, and then you go to the park every day and write about a different piece of nature. Like, there's a commitment there, and you're getting inspired and you're getting out there. It's going to pay off. Just commit and bring these new ideas to the world. And by, say, writing these poems, you publish them, and it brings focus in on the need for us to preserve nature, right, for the collective. It could be something like that. It could be so many things. Very inspiring. Also, the moon, so a little more tense aspects of the day on Thursday, is the moon squares Jupiter and Neptune later in the day, and those are in Pisces. So this one I had to think about for a little bit. The energies of illusion, you know, influencing dogma. So what did I say? Coming in, so like the beliefs being founded by, so Sagittarius can rule beliefs in some areas, and especially emotional beliefs being clouded by the dream, right? Like, it's just like, oh, well, this and this is happening right here, and it's feeding into the beliefs. And it's just this kind of story, this make-believe story. And, you know, the Sagittarius may be seeing it, that energy that's creating the beliefs may see that it is truth or find it tenuous. And so either it's rebelling against the illusion or it's buying into the illusion and creating beliefs that aren't really solid and maybe not based so much on truth, or resisting it and really hunkering down and just being like, no fantasy, no imagination. So just be careful, those energies, and trying to find the balance of where are my beliefs coming from, and maybe not fact checking them, but like making sure you check your experience, right? Or what you're seeing. Is what I'm seeing really true? And, you know, how am I also putting it out there in the world? Don't get too dogmatic is what I can say about that. And don't get lost in the dream. Just try to enjoy the dream and maybe do something active with it in a positive way. And also, Mercury squares Uranus. Mercury, this is not a moon aspect, but Mercury is going to be in Aquarius, and it's squaring Uranus. And so I felt like this is where the, I'm trying to think of the word. Mercury is thinking about, again, the collective and making new ideas and things. And the Uranus and Taurus is like, okay, I am redoing materials here. This has to go, this has to stay, this is going to be new, this is what you need to go forward. And Aquarius may not be so grounded. It's like, well, we're going to do this and this and this and this. It's like, oh, wait, stop. So you may, on Thursday, also have these feelings of where you want to move forward with your ideas, but not that you're told that you can't, but you're going to have to really make sure you have the materials to do what you need to move forward, to make sure that it's stable and grounded, because Mercury in Aquarius is just churning out, moving fast, right? Not so grounded. And so like, you may be putting out an idea, but it may not land if you don't look at the materials that you're using to build this, whatever they are. And then we move into Friday, and I did this phrase for that already. We're going to do something different when I move into Capricorn, the next video. But so it's going to be a Capricorn moon. Again, it is waning, letting go. These are all this week of release. And so there's some positive aspects for sure. The moon is sextile to the sun, and I feel like that keeps us emotionally grounded, because the sun is in Pisces, and it's just shining, it's having a good time. You know, we remember this is Pisces season, so we're going to really feel the want to just shine, you know, creatively, and, you know, connect to source and create beautiful things that are inspired by source. Not always the most grounded energy, and that's okay, because of course it's a balance. We don't want to be too grounded or too, you know, I don't want to say uplifted, but with this, like, you know, not connected to the physical plane, because we are humans on the earth. But anyway, so this is a grounded energy, and I think it's really positive. That practicality can really help you bring your dream down again, and we've talked about that last week, and I think it's a really, really good thing. And with that, you know, I'll talk a little bit more about the aspects of Capricorn when I make my next video. And I just think that it's a nice end to the week for the most part. But what I really, really want to just say on this end note before I do my check-in is that there's a larger theme coming on, and it's got to do with the Venus and Mars coming up to Pluto. And by my calculations, it's March 2nd that they conjunct, and it's, we've got the new moon. There's lots of things going on. It's going to be some powerful stuff around March 2nd, March 3rd, March 4th. And I think that's going to be bringing up the bigger story that's been happening. My hope is that it's a positive story for the world, but Mars will be leading the way to Pluto. And like I said, there could be a lot of tensions, and I think the tensions are building, and we're feeling it, with the Scorpio moon. It's kind of adding into it earlier this week, but Mars is determined and so is Pluto. So it should be very, very interesting. With that, my check-in, it's been a really positive week, growth, expansion, healing, connections. As far as the moons go, well, we just moved into Scorpio. The Libra, I didn't have to hang around too many people, but I felt good. I did do a little bit of art, creating. That's always something that I love to do. And I just felt, Libra's a really good energy for me. And so it's just kind of, I don't want to say chill, but just kind of smooth. The Scorpio moon, we'll see. Many people experience the Scorpio moon a little bit drastic, because that is not the moon's favorite place. Let's put it that way. It can cause, like I said, a lot of intense emotions and power struggles at its negative. At its best, like I said, you find your power and you know what you desire and you ask for it, right? And there's my piece of art here to represent the Pisces, the blue, and the red, the Scorpio, just kind of like the dream and moving forward. With that, it's Jennifer Helmer at Eureka Astrology and Healing. If you like this, hit like, subscribe, leave me comments. Are you going with the moons? I think it's a really powerful thing to do. May the plants ground you and the stars guide you. Ciao for now.